hill back here. This does not have a decal normals map. It just has the regular terrain paint. This, however, this big decal here, we can change it to be other surface types by using normals maps that are opaque. I'm sorry, transparent. So basically all you are getting are the normals that make a texture look more 3D. So if we are to zoom out, you can see how greatly different the terrain looks with a normals map applied to it. It has more of a 3D look to it than not. Yes, there are normals also for terrain paints, but these types of normal maps that are made as decals, they're very strong. Let's go over to here where I have put a few different, the 3 different types here that I made, and we can see how they affect. This would be a texture of just sand without a normals map. And this would be with 3 different types. You can also see how the normals map make the dirt road appear, whereas here it does not have any normals, and here it does. And you can see here how the 3 different type affect this grass here on the side of the road. So this is with one normals map. Let's scroll over to here and you'll see this is without, this is with, this is another variety with, and another variety. It just gives it a little more 3D look. Just to illustrate how much a normals map can affect something, we're going to take the normals map and in the inspector for that decal, we're going to tell it to go over objects. Now if the collision mesh for the object matches the object, then you can do this, and you can see how the normals add even more to, this is a good example here. One side with normals map and the other side without. Now this has normals too, this texture, but it's not the same. Let's change it. And where this object was never finished, it was just a solid color. And you can see how the decal going over the top of this makes it kind of look like a little something better than what it was. Now this isn't really good for everything. It's got its uses though, you know. Depends on what you're making. But yeah, decals can do a significant amount of change to your terrain and your map. It just gives it more, you know, realistic look in my opinion. Anyway, I'm going to share these decals with you. Their names are when you go to your inspector of your decal, when you go, it's going to be decal 1, decal 2, or decal 3. Those are the only 3 that I did. I mean, I didn't do anything with those, but these three are the three decals. So, like I said, when you go to your inspector and you your decal here, this is where you pick the material. Now, all you got to do to get these in your level is very simple. Just take the zip file that I give you and extract the folder. The folder is going to be new decals. Just extract that folder and place it in your levels art folder so that it has its own folder. See, it's got its own materials, main.materials thing here. And there's some other ones in here if you want to mess with some of the other ones. I just have to fix this real quick. Because if these are in here, you would have to manually, I mean, they'd have to be, they're not in this folder is what I'm saying. When they don't have a location, you can just move this folder around from level to level, and you don't have to worry about making the texture for that material too on that level. If that makes any sense. Just since I made these after I loaded the game. Well, I made the textures before I loaded the level, but then I added the. This is where I tried the different ones, mix and match different ones, and in that process it added that directory location. But yeah, you don't need that. If the material's in there with that main.materials in the same folder, you can just move that folder from any level to any level now, and they'll be available. Like, for example, new decals, copy, let's see, small grid, in the art folder here. I'll paste that folder. So now that when I load small grid, them decals will be available. Let me just close the game, reload it. I don't have a terrain in here. That's a model. I can just show you if it'll let me put a decal there. I'll be damned. Guess it will. Just search decal 1, decal 2, decal 3. And you can see how just this 3D mesh, how it gives it more three-dimension look to it. Even though it's just a mesh, you get the idea. And once again, this is the texture length. You would really like slide this out, like if you had a decal that was really wide, then that's when you would want to adjust it so that it's not too narrow. That makes sense. The default is 5, but 5 for a 5 width is correct. I don't know if 10 for a 10, if it's a linear scale or not. Maybe. Yeah, I guess it is. So if you have a 50 wide, then you would need this to be 50 to not to shit, to look right. Yeah. At least with these, because these were 1-to-1 square texture. These aren't like 4-to-1 ratio, so that works. I think that's it. Like I said, just unzip the folder and put the folder in your levels art folder, and then when you make a decal in that level, you'll have decal 1, 2, 3 that you want to, if you want to mess around with them. Now, if you want to make your own decal, say decal 4, with those extra ones I gave you, and just go into the material editor, pull up decal 4, and what you'll want to do is this alpha channel here, you'll make this 0, and then in the lighting, turn on anastrophic filtering if it's not already on. Advanced, turn lerp alpha on. Now you have a normal map and you have a detail normal map. So if you go to your level that you put your folder in, like say here, and new decals, and we pick say beach sand, and you see the normals for beach sand are here. I'll just go through these, the different ones that there are. Already did that one. And you can have a second one on top of that one. Also, you can turn on level reflection and then pick another one of the normal maps to be the reflective map, or the same one, it don't matter. Turn the amount of the reflectivity down a good bit, so it just gives it just a little extra highlight. And say the detail normal map, maybe you pick that one instead for that, and then you can make this one more predominant over the other one by increasing that, or you can scale it larger or smaller if you want to put, you know, that kind of variety on it. That's the strength. Remember, 0 will just show the first one. 1, 2, 3. So you see how the other one starts to influence over the other, but you still get them both pretty much. So you got a lot of options. Oh, and lastly, I'll forget the start, end, and start fade. If you want to blend the decal in with something else. Oh yeah, some textures, some decals already have alpha transparencies. When you're in the inspector for the decal, the render priority will determine which one will be on top of the other. So if there was 2 or 3 decals here and you wanted the one you made to be the predominant one on the top, then you would put this render priority closer to 1. 1 being the most priority, and the higher the number, the less priority. And you also got distance fade, where depending on how far away you are will determine if you want to still see the decal. I don't know what the default distance is, but I would say 1,000 to 1,500 should be plenty. I want to say the default was 500. I think so. I think it's 500 for all the decals, but you can just increase that depending on how far you need to see it away. I think that's it for this